The Dunahees have endured 2 months of grief and numbing frustration.
I feel like, I'm the father, this is my family, and there's nothing I can do to get my son back, that actually physically do. To get out there and there he is, grab him and bring him home. And that's gotta be one of the worst feelings anybody could have. Not being able to protect your family, not knowing where they are.
Good afternoon, and welcome to True Crime Mysteries. If you're new to the channel, hello and welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. For this video, we are doing something a little bit different. I've been taking my research from my videos and rewriting them over on Medium, and when I was working on this video, I realized it had missed a lot of information. I've done this in the past where I've remade some of my older videos, so that is what we're going to be doing today. This is new and improved, and I hope you like it. Let's get into it. Number 1. Helen Carapitas. Helen was the third of 6 children to Theo and Vula Karipidis. The large family resided in Marrickville, Australia, a suburb just outside of Sydney. In the months before Helen's disappearance, Theo and Vula separated, and Vula had been granted full custody of all the children. On December 22, 1988, the children were all playing at a playground near their home. 10-year-old Helen played with a large group of neighborhood children and her siblings for most of the afternoon. Vula called her children in for supper around 5:30 p.m. Their home was close enough to the playground that the children could easily hear their mother calling them to come in. 5 of the 6 children returned, but there wasn't an immediate cause for concern. It was initially assumed that Helen had gone for supper at a neighbor's house and forgot to tell anyone. Although, when the sun went down and Helen hadn't returned, the family began searching for her. They began knocking on all of their neighbors' doors, and when they discovered Helen hadn't gone over to a friend's house, the police were called. Her siblings were confident that Helen had been with them as late as 5 p.m. No one remembered seeing anyone suspicious or out of the ordinary in the area, and it just seemed as if Helen had walked away from the group. The initial suspect was her father, Theo. At the time of his daughter's disappearance, Theo had been abusing alcohol and was known to be violent. It was also theorized that Helen had run away because of her father's abuse, but the family feels that this is unlikely, as it was very unlike Helen to run away. She was very close to her older sister Maria, and it didn't seem likely that she would run away without her. Investigators eventually concluded that Helen had been abducted, though there was no evidence to go on. There is still a $50,000 reward for any information on Helen. She would be 42 today. Number 2. Michael Dunohee. In Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, 4-year-old Michael Dunahee was at a park with his parents. His mom was playing touch football with a local league, and his dad was spectating. Michael asked his mother Crystal if he could go to the playground. She said he could, but he was to wait for his dad to come.
I had told him not to go off with the kids that were there because I didn't know whose kids they were, and to watch out for the cars on his way back.
It was a Sunday. Bruce and Crystal Dunahee had brought their 2 children to a Victoria school football field. 4-year-old Michael disappeared.
Stood up here and looked over at the park. Didn't see him. I told Crystal I can't see Michael, so I'll go look for him.
He'd asked to go to a nearby playground while his mother played touch football. The playground was within sight of the field, within sight of his father and dozens of other adults. But Michael Dunahee simply disappeared.
She remembered watching him walk through the crowd for a few minutes. Michael was wearing a blue hooded jacket, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle t-shirt, rugby pants, and blue sneakers. His father went to meet Michael at the playground, but he couldn't find the 4-year-old. Michael's dad swiftly alerted those at the park, and a massive search began within minutes of Michael's disappearance. Around 50 people were in the neighborhood calling his name and knocking on doors. Police were also quickly alerted, and it was concluded that Michael hadn't simply wandered off. His disappearance sparked one of the most extensive police investigations in Canadian history. Over 11,000 tips had been received, and police had eyewitnesses say they saw an older man in his 40s or 50s near the park with a van, but the officers were never able to track down that man or the vehicle. The abductor would have only had about 5 minutes to snatch Michael and drive away. Michael would be 34 today, and there is still a $100,000 reward for any information on Michael. His family is still hopeful that someone will recognize him from his age progression photos. Number 3. Brittany Ann Beers. In Sturgis, Michigan, 6-year-old Brittany Ann Beers was playing outside. At 7:30 p.m., she was riding her bike, and at 8:30 p.m., her mother left to run errands. Brittany's half-brother was supposed to be watching her, and he said he saw her sitting on a park bench about 5 minutes after their mother left. A witness who lived in the area told investigators he saw Brittany talking to an unidentified man in a red or brown mid-sized vehicle. Brittany then walked over to this witness and told him that she had made a new friend. She continued to play outside, and the witness left the area. This would be the last confirmed sighting of Brittany. Brittany's mother returned at around 9 p.m. and asked her son where Brittany was. They began searching, and shortly after 9, the authorities were called. Police located Brittany's bike that had been dumped near the area she had last been seen in. Sketches of the man Brittany had been talking to were also distributed. He was described as in his late 20s or early 30s with short dark hair, a thick mustache, and was driving either a mid-sized red car or a brown Renault. Police never located this man and described him as a person of interest that they wished to question.
I hollered for her and she didn't come, and she was usually the first one at the door when I hollered.
She had the bike, and she apparently rode the bike back from up by the roadway back over to the apartment complex by the apartment they lived in. So the bike was there.
She had dowels, she had this and that, but it was her bicycle. She didn't care about anything else but her bike.
So where was Brittany's family when she disappeared? Brittany didn't live with her father, Raymond Beers. He lived across town. He says he was at home. Brittany lived with her mom, Tina Stetler, in an apartment. Tina says she was at the store getting milk. Brittany's uncle, Jimmy Beers, was staying at the apartment. He is Raymond's brother, but at the time, he was also Tina's boyfriend. He says he was asleep inside.
I seen Josh outside the bedroom door, and I said, "What are you still doing up?" And he says, "Brittany's gone."
Tina told police she came home just after 9 and found Brittany missing. At 10:33, police were called.
We had tracking dogs down right away.
Brittany was said by neighbors to be frequently neglected, and people assumed she was often abused. Brittany was last seen wearing a white tank top with floral design, pink tie-dyed shorts, and white sneakers. She was missing 4 upper baby teeth at the time of her disappearance. A year following Brittany's disappearance, an older brother and younger sister were removed from their home following abuse and neglect allegations. Her father, Raymond Beers, Uncle James Beers, and the father of one of her half-brothers, Kevin Folsom, were all accused of abusing the children, including Brittany. Folsom was arrested and charged for sexually abusing a minor, but was released in 2008. In 2000, her case had sparked media attention again when a man was arrested for child pornography possession, and in some of the photos there was a girl who resembled Brittany. It was later determined to be a girl from Texas who testified against her abusive parents and had them jailed. A woman who was a neighbor of Brittany said that she'd hoped that someone had discovered the abuse Brittany was experiencing and took her to give her a better life. Brittany would be 29 today. Number 3. Aaron Mitchell Anderson. In Pine City, Minnesota, Aaron Mitchell Anderson was a year old when he played in the backyard of his family's home. His mother had left him alone for a few moments, and when she came out, Aaron had vanished. The property bordered the Snake River and was next to a large embankment that led to the river. The police had assumed he had fallen in and drowned, even though his body was never recovered and the police dogs couldn't catch a scent anywhere near the river. The police themselves admitted to only exploring the drowning theory and ignored up to 20 other leads in the disappearance. An extensive search of the area was done several days after his disappearance, but Aaron was only a year old and couldn't have gotten far. Both of his parents firmly believe he was abducted. Aaron has a white birthmark on his lower abdomen and had an enlarged head as a child. He was last seen in a yellow and red sweatshirt with a puffy dinosaur on the front, light gray corduroy pants, a gray ski jacket, a white knit hat with green snowflakes and green ear flaps, brown plastic boots with nylon tops and liners, and gray socks. Aaron would be 33 years old today. When children go missing, it raises entire communities to rally together. There is always hope that there can be a positive outcome. There are cases today where abducted children return to their families, sometimes even decades later. These 4 cases covered are cold cases with very little evidence and no resolution for the families. There is always a hope that the right person will see videos like this one and a memory may be jogged or an odd conversation might be remembered. Anything that could help resolve these cases. Well, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out until the end. As always, please give this video a thumbs up if you like the content and subscribe for more if you haven't already. If you've done all that and you want to support me in the channel, I have linked a couple of donation options in the description box. Also, a reminder that there is merch available. Please check it out and give me some feedback. I designed it myself and I had a lot of fun. Our subscriber shoutout is going to be Gwen Moody. She has been subscribed for over a year and said thank you. Thank you, Gwen. I really appreciate this support. And if you would like to be the next featured shoutout, just be subscribed and comment your thoughts on this video. Also, a huge thank you to those who sent some coffees my way. I had James, Mike, and Robin all send some coffees over. That donation option is super fun and they will be put to good use. Thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate it greatly. Bye.